Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with another product review. Today we're going to be looking at the earthberry eco-friendly handmade pastels. These have been kind of taking Instagram by storm. They're so aesthetically pleasing, and just seeing the artwork that people have been creating with these really piqued my interest. When they reached out to me and asked if I would like to review their product, I didn't hesitate when I said yes. So enjoy this review. It may be a little bit of a controversial one, but I will give you all the information that I can give you, and yeah, you can make the choices for what's best for you, for your art budget. So looking on the back of the box, I have the Grand Canyon set. They let me choose a set of my choosing, and they make a variety of sets. They do not offer open stock pastels, which is kind of disappointing, but they do have a variety of 6 pastel sets all the way up to 30 pastel sets. I think that's the biggest size they offer, but it also seems like they have different sets come and go, and I know they have like one specialty set with an artist on their website, so I think they kind of revamp different sites. It seems sets. It seems like it's small batch made. They have videos on their Instagram of how the product is made, and it's just really interesting. I love a handmade product, especially if it performs well, and these do. So let's take a look here at the back of the box. We've got a color chart here, which is good because I'm going to need to refer to that when we swatch the chart inside. I've done a couple paintings with these, and I haven't swatched them yet because, to be honest, generally I don't swatch pastels because usually what you see is what you get. But they do have a couple special effects pastels that you really need to swatch out. Eco-friendly handmade pastel set of 30 colors, used for its intended purposes. Composition, Colloin organic, or Colloin, which is a clay. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They use it in face masks too, so it's a pretty safe material. They use it in eyeliner. Organic and inorganic pigments based on safe chemical compounds and natural minerals and cellulose ethers. Made without the use of poisonous pigments. Now, there is no pigment information per se. It just says that they're non-toxic. And the owner of the company, it's a family company, but the mother of the family who makes the pastels is a chemist. So she's well-schooled in that sort of thing. Shelf life is unlimited. The guarantee period is 12 months from date of manufacture. Date of manufacture, December 2024. And I received these, I would say probably in July. Product certification is not required. This product has passed voluntary product certification, made in Russia. And that's where I think a little bit of controversy might be. I just want to get that out of the way because I know many people refuse to purchase products made in Russia. And I get that. I understand where small business people in Russia would be coming from as well, because I have received messages on my YouTube videos, and so have other American YouTubers, saying they're no longer going to watch American YouTube channels until a new administration comes along. So, I mean, I get it. You got to do what you got to do. I'm not here to sway anybody either way, right? So let's take a look. And if you look at that, if you scan that QR code, it will take you to their Instagram page. But if you just go to Instagram and search earthberry pastels, you can find that as well. So let's slide the belly band off. So this was shipped from Russia. I actually didn't know these were made in Russia until I got my shipping notification from them. It wasn't really obvious on their Instagram that they are a Russian company, probably because they don't want the backlash, political reasons. But I want to make sure I let you know that, because I didn't know until I accepted the product and I looked at the tracking number. And it took a while. They say it takes about 18 to 30 days to get these products. And I just Googled this morning what are the current USA tariffs. And this is August 26th when I'm Googling this today, because I was wondering what it might cost for somebody to receive these, because the regular price on this set I think is $195, and the other 30, they were out of stock on this one. I don't know if it's coming back or not, but their other 30 color sets were regular price $195, on sale for $150. They had sales on all of them, so I don't know if they always have a sale going or if that was a special thing, but I guess it's worth waiting and seeing if nothing is on sale, seeing if there's going to be waiting to see if the sale comes up. But so $150 for 30 pastels. You can do the math. I can't do that in my I should be able to. I should be able to do that in my head. But yeah, it's been a long week. It's only Tuesday when I'm filming this. They have a beautiful color chart here with these almost like vintage botanical illustrations of all of the different colors. It has a very eco-friendly branding feel to it, and it honestly feels like something you would find made in like Oregon, like the Pacific Northwest. The vibe of the company makes me feel like it's Pacific Northwest, but it isn't. But anyway, some of these colors here will say chameleon, and what that means is that after you swatch it, if you rub it, the color changes. You get you can get a couple tones, like 2 tones from any of those colors. So we're going to swatch them out together. Now I've got to have the chart, I've got to set it up so I've got the chart going the same way as the pastels so that I know I'm swatching them in the right colors and I know which ones are going to be chameleon. It's packaged in coconut fiber waste, so there's no styrofoam, there's no petrochemicals. It's all cardboard and this coconut fiber, and none of these broke. These had a long trip from Russia to Maine and nothing broke. And I think I did hear something about them using a warehouse or packaging service in another country for countries that cannot receive products from Russia. When I looked on the internet today and asked about tariffs, it said that Russian Post is not sending to the US right now because they don't know how to handle the tariffs. There's not clarification on what they should do, so they're suspending shipments until clarification comes around. And I've heard that from other countries as well. So I do know they ship out of another, I think it might even be Israel. They ship out of another country to be able to make sure they can send them to wherever they need to send them. They're a business, they're trying to do their business, regardless of what their administration is doing. I'm not getting into it. But anyway, so I want to set this up so this is the same orientation as the swatch sheet. I have used these, but I don't think I've moved them around, so we should be pretty good there. And we're going to swatch these together. So I like this packaging. I wonder, with it being a natural element though, that it might mildew. So that's my only concern with keeping them in these. Where I live in a fairly humid environment, like in the spring and summer, it's really humid in Maine. So I kind of worry, and I work in my basement, so I kind of worry about mildew, but I think that's just chalk dust. At first I was like, oh no, I've got mildew in here, but there's no smell. So I think maybe not. And when I was looking at other unboxings of these, they seem to also have that haziness in there. So it's probably just part of either the chalk or the pastel rather, or the coconut fiber. But it might be a concern since it is a natural element. It could, it's meant to biodegrade, folks. So, you might have some issues there. I'll be putting these in with I'll probably be putting them in with my regular pastel drawers in their color families. So let's do some swatching. This first color is, oh, you know what? Do we have? No, they have the like Latin names for these colors. Gloxani Avanti. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but we're gonna swatch it out here. Now this says don't forget to shade. Now this paper that it gives you is very smooth and very thin. It's not what I would use for pastels typically, but let's see if we get another shade. So when we rub it out, we get more of a pink tone, and when we don't, when we just kind of use it straight, we get more of a purple tone. I don't know how useful that is, to be honest. I'm going to put more on here and see if I can get a... Yeah, see, it's a little bit more eggplanty there. It's a little bit more like grapey there. Does that show up? I'm not sure if that shows up. I'll have to take a photo of this and post it on my blog. This one is Hirocha Sanguina. I use this on my tomato painting I'm going to show you in a minute, that I have a real-time demo of. That's a pretty color. Then we've got Allura Orantia. I should probably just... I am not a chemist. I can't pronounce these things. Or a biologist. Pretty color, though. The colors are gorgeous. They're muted but not muddy. Cause I did a whole painting with just this limited palette, and I didn't even use all the colors, and my painting is not muddy even though all these tones are muted. So this one's another chameleon shade. Color 276, Sagonum Aaron Brown. Hopefully I have the right color here. It doesn't look like a brown, but let's it's a little more blue. It's a little bit more, maybe a little bit more blue. Honestly, I don't really see a difference. Maybe I have the wrong color. We'll shade this one. We'll see if this one is different. This one almost looks like it's got green and brown in it. There was no bright green. There was no like real green or real blue in this set, so that's something to keep in mind. I think maybe I got those two mixed up, because this one does seem to be more green if I rub it out, and it's just kind of like more brown otherwise. I don't know. I know this next color says don't forget to shade. It's like a purple color. You can almost see if it's a chameleon color. I think you can kind of see the two colors. Oh yeah, that one's much more red when you shade it out. Again, I don't know how useful that is. I also used this on a portrait, actually rescuing a portrait the other day that was not going well. It's like, well, I've got this review coming up. I'm going to just paint over it with these pastels. These are very soft. They feel like Sennelier. If you've ever used the Sennelier pastels, they have that same feel to them. I love that color. That's the most bluest blue that you're going to see in this set. That aqua color. But it does have a beautiful Southwest feel to it. They are a little bit crumbly, I think, because they're so soft. And I like the shape a lot. Kind of a pretty ochre color. Yeah, muted but not muddy, and that's kind of hard to do, so these are going to be a nice addition to my stash. Well, if you look at that, you know what? Maybe it's because, like, I can see those lines through them really well, maybe because the paper's smooth, but maybe they're a little more transparent, and maybe that's why they're not muddy. But they showed up fine on the green paper that I used. Now this is another chameleon color. The chameleon ones almost feel a little bit different. I think I'm getting the feel of them a little bit better. This one, Hirocha Blackout. I'm running out of clean fingers too. Well, I don't really see a difference with that one. I can't really notice a difference there. I hope I have the right color. I don't know. I don't think I'm sold on the Wait a minute, did I grab the wrong color? These two colors are very similar. But they look different. This one I guess looks a little bit more greener. That one looks a little bit more browner. Those are very, very close. But look at the pastels themselves. They don't look all that close together, but they swatch out very similar. Here we have kind of a beautiful clay pink color. These are like, it's almost like a ballet slipper pink. That's really pretty. These colors are very subtle. I think if you have, say you have like just a general assortment set of 48, something like that, where your colors are kind of the just regular workaday basic colors that your brights, your basics. These would be a nice addition to those, especially if you like to do southwestern landscapes. But I did a whole painting with this set, and I did find there was enough value range, because look, you do have some darks, and you do have some lights. Even though there's no black or white, I still was able to get, I still was able to complete a painting without having to go and get any other pastels, which I thought was nice. Now this is another chameleon color. I've given up trying to say the names. Those chameleon purples, they just seem to get a little bit more reddish when you rub them. Maybe I'm missing something. They totally could be. I could totally be missing something. Maybe I would highly recommend you watch some other people's reviews of these. I don't do pastels every day. I'm a mixed media artist. I will add pastels to my work. Sometimes I do a full pastel painting. I love pastels. I love a lot of media, and they don't get into the rotation as often as I would like. Nothing does. Ooh, this is a pretty yellow. I like the yellows in this set. I like the yellows and the oranges and the ochres in this set an awful lot. This would be great if you lived in the Southwest, I would think. such a warm palette. Oh, this is a really pretty color. It's almost like a clay green type color. Just such a lovely color. Oh, the pinks. I love the pinks in this set too. They're so natural looking. There's none of that like artificial Pepto-Bismol color to them. This is the brightest color, or this is the lightest color. It's this, I think it might be called Mushroom. It's just this really pale, I don't know, call it maybe like an ivory color. Oh, there's this really light, almost looks like very, very pale cornflower or periwinkle, super, super light blue. I'm going to grab a white that wipe my fingers off. And then we'll look at the light fastness of these colors, but just give you a second to meditate on those colors there. The chameleon colors, which to me, not a selling point. I think it might be neat, maybe if you were using them in a, like for a background, maybe you had like, you know, it would probably be kind of cool if you had, you're doing the background, maybe you're doing like an interior or a portrait and you want to put something in the background to make it look a little bit more interesting, and you fill a background with one of these colors, then you put a stencil on top and you rub through the stencil so you can get almost like a brocade wallpaper look or brocade fabric look. I think that would be a really good use for those pastels. Maybe I'll have to try that. That might be kind of fun to try. But let's tap off the stuff into the trash. And then I can flip it over. I'm going to flip it over onto my coconut paper here so I don't make a big mess. But there's the colors. I think I would have preferred a more textured paper swatch so that it could hold the pastel a little bit better. So for light fastness, we have, I'm seeing 2s and 3s. Let's see, it's hard to tell. I'm trying to find a color that I know would be really light fast and help assign what the scale refers to. I'm thinking the 3 light fastness is the superb light fast and the 2 is less light fast. But it's really hard to say without a key explaining the light fast ratings. I don't see anything like that though. But anyway, we've got the Night Blue 2 light fastness, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So mostly there, I think there's probably more 3s than 2s. How are pinks looking? Pink, vintage pink is 2. Where are the pinks? The seashell is 3. Crayola sepia is 3. Our red is 3. Or actually, that red is 3. That red is 2. Assuming that I do have these colors right, that I do have them lined up properly, which I think I do, but let's see, mountain pink is 3. I don't know. I mean, the colors are not super vivid. None of them look like they would be artificial, you know, those kind of like acidy colors that tend to fade. So, yeah. I think I'm going to go find a stencil. I want to try that, see if we can get that chameleon effect to do something useful that we would use in a painting. So, hang tight and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got a piece of smooth black paper and a piece of textured cream paper. So we'll have a couple different things we can try, and I've got a stencil here. I think what I'm going to do is, let's see, that is the 4th one. I'm going to take 2 colors I know have a clear chameleon effect. This lighter purple and also this darker purple. And see what we can do. So I'm just going to do like a patch of color here. Actually, I'm going to do this and that will clean my pastel off while I'm at it. And actually, just for a little control area, I'll just do the flat pastel up there. And over here, we'll do the same control area. Oh, that's really pretty on the black. That is so pretty. You can see the 2 colors almost fighting each other here. It kind of gives just like well, it's not really showing up on camera, but you can kind of see a little bit of a two-tone effect. Again, probably not on camera, but yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, I'm really seeing it, but I can almost see it on the stick itself, like the color changing on the stick. That's kind of neat. Okay, let's give this a try. So I'm just going to use my finger here, and I'm just going to hold that down and just rub over this with my finger. And we'll see if that could be good for, like, you know, you're doing a portrait and you've got somebody sitting on a brocade sofa. Wouldn't that be cool if you could get this just subtle tone on tone effect? Maybe I put too much. I don't know. I feel like is it peeling the paper? I don't use this Ingress paper very much, so that's why I decided to grab it for this example. The pieces I did a mixed media piece, a piece on mixed media paper, a piece on velour paper, so I wanted to use a couple other different papers with this. I feel like, is it peeling? Oh my gosh! Oh wow, that's distinct. I didn't expect it, so that's without any rubbing there, and that is putting the stencil down and rubbing with the stencil. I am really surprised at that. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's do that over here with this. I'm just going to use a different finger. That's neat. I maybe not put so much on next time. We'll try one with less, and we'll see, because I was thinking that might be too... I picked a bold stencil to make sure we could see it on camera. We should probably choose something a little bit more subtle. And this is on smooth paper. That's on a textured paper. The cream is a textured paper. The black is a smooth paper. So let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, this one's not as distinct, I don't think. We could try that on this paper. Actually, let's do it side by side. I'll do some of this. I'm not going to do as much. Let's do less. I think I've got some glue or something on my paper underneath. I wonder if I can gently just kind of like, just gently blend it before I add anything, before I rub firmly. Okay. Let's try this now. These fibers. I don't know if the fibers I'm seeing are the pastel or if I'm peeling the paper. Look at the gradient though. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Well, look at that. Yeah, we can still see that. Now I'm just going to tip that over this side. We can still see the change from when we rubbed it. Now I'm kind of curious, does that work with... I'm just kind of like, I feel like I need to do an ultra control group and just take a regular pastel from my drawer. So let me do that. Let me just take a regular pastel from my drawer and we'll see if that works. So this is random. I don't know what it is. I have no idea what brand this is. But we're going to try it. That's pretty though, isn't it? That's why I like to have all my pastels together, because then I see interesting combinations when I do that. This is a beautiful stuff though. Pastel is messy work, friends. Messy, messy work. Okay. So now I need to dry my hands off on the paper towel too. Okay. I don't know, this is just like... I mean, actually... Actually, that technique might just work with any pastel. I mean, not as strong, but let's try that on... oh, this is a different color. Oh God, that's a beautiful color. What are you? You feel like a schminka, my friend. Let me blend it in a little bit. Ooh, she's pretty. I think probably the chameleons happen because of like the pigment mix they use though. And when you, maybe there's some mica in it, maybe there's, it's not shiny though. I mean, but I think that's only because I'm kind of wiping some away. That's why it's two-toned. It's not, because like that when you rub it, they get darker. Well, I guess that gets darker too. That's lighter over here. No, it gets darker over here when we rub the pastel too. So it must be just flattening out the pigment molecules or something and letting the light bounce off of it differently. So that's kind of neat. I think that could be kind of useful. Now let's see what happens if I just... Oh, but if I brush over it... Well, it's still kind of there though. I can brush over it and we still are left with a little bit of a two-toned effect. You know, you still can, you'll get a more subtle effect if you do that. Interesting. It's almost like the effect of like adding fixative to your pastels, which makes me think that, you know, if you were doing a pastel painting and you wanted to have somebody like somebody sitting on a brocade couch, you could paint the brocade couch, you could lay a stencil down, you could spray fixative, and you could darken certain areas like that. But then when you sprayed fixative over the whole thing, you might lose those highlights. So I don't know. I think that's an interesting effect. There's one way you could use it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that would be useful to you or not. I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to remember what colors I had that were chameleon unless I put them aside in another little set or something. I think that's the flaw with that. There's no really ready way to tell which ones of these are chameleon colors. You know, there's no way to mark them. There's no stamping on them. And even if there was, you'd probably wear that off. So that would be my criticism of that, but you could definitely store them in a way that you're keeping your chameleon colors separate in a separate area so that you know when you want that effect you can go for it. And I think there's only certain colors that would do that. It seems like, you know, and it's not super what's the word, obvious. And you know, going back to the stencil idea, which is something I've never done with pastels before, you could always put a base color down, rub it out, put the stencil down, and then like use a pan pastel soft tool to go over with another color. So, I mean, yeah, there's different ways to get that effect. I just think it's kind of neat. So anyway, I want to show you a painting I just did with this. There's a real-time tutorial for this on my channel. It was 25 minutes just with the colors from the set. I didn't use all the colors, but a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The pastels are very soft and they feel like Sennelier, but they're a different shape. So I would say if you love the softness of Sennelier, you love that density of color, the density of the pastel, but you wanted something with edges, this would be the perfect solution for you. I had a good time painting with these. Now this is velour paper, so I don't need fixative, and it's very forgiving if you're using really soft pastels because it lets you layer. The little hairs on the paper grab the pastel really well. On these papers, I think these are going to work fine. Like this is super smooth and it's showing up pretty well. This has some tooth to it and it's grabbing just fine. Yeah, if you like a soft pastel, I probably would tend to use these more for my final layers on regular paper because they will clog the tooth pretty quickly because they are so soft. Whereas on the velour paper, you can go right in with a soft and stay with soft pastels, really soft pastels the whole way through. I don't think they're quite as soft as Schmincke. I'd say, and I find Schmincke to be a little softer than Sennelier. I would say they are as soft as Sennelier, but Schmincke is still a little bit softer. And I've never used Unison or Mount Vision or many of the fancier pastel brands. I've pretty much only used mass market pastels. I'm going to show you one more painting I did. I'm not really in love with this painting, to be honest, but this was actually a graphite pencil sketch that I did, and it was not working. I was having a real struggle with it, so I ended up just going over with a wash of watercolor, and then I went over it with these pastels, and they stuck on top of the shiny graphite, and I had quite a bit of graphite. Like I had taken a graphite stick and rubbed all over this. And they still stuck on top of that. They dilute with water. I actually added water to the hair and spread it around, and it was like painting with gouache. I got almost a gouache effect there. So really high quality pastels. I really enjoyed using them. They're, I would say price wise, they're about what you pay for, you know, any quality pastel. Not the most expensive, definitely not the cheapest, but I think they're good. If you can wait for them, you know, if the shipping time isn't an issue, and if you don't have an issue with ordering products from Russia, I would say give them a shot. Unless, you know, the open stock thing, that's kind of a, I don't want to say deal breaker, but that is a bummer that if you have a color you really like, you can't just buy that color. You can't buy extras of a color. So you're dependent on what's in stock in sets on the website, which means you might have to buy a set with colors that you're never going to use, which it doesn't matter what kind of a bargain it is. If you don't use it, you're not saving any money. You know what I mean? It's not a bargain if you don't use it. So, you know, that's something to consider. Maybe in the future they'll offer custom sets or open stock colors. I mean, even if they offered like there was this pastel shop I went to in France, and you could buy a set, but you could also make your own set for the same price. You get a box and you put the 10 colors you want in there. If they did a situation like that, and maybe they're growing and they're going to get into that, and I'm sure having open stock is a big headache probably, and it takes a while to get to that point. But you know, that is a big downside for some. So, you know, weigh the pros and cons, see if they'll meet your needs. Maybe there's a set that has all colors that you would use. The sets are put together very thoughtfully. These colors, whereas I didn't know if there was like a painting I would do with just these colors, but I wanted to try it. And the reason, even though the colors here are not in the colors of the still life I was painting, I was still able to convey the look of red tomatoes and the bright white shaker of salt and all of that, because there was a range of values. So you've got really, really light values here, and you got really dark values here and here. There's no black, there's no white, but because there's a good range of values, I still was able to give the impression of white, the impression of black, the impression of red, the impression of, you know, where I don't have these true bright primary colors, I still could give the impressions of them because the value range was nice in this set. Like I said, I didn't see the Grand Canyon set for sale when I checked today, but maybe it will come back. It seems like they rotate different sets through, so it may be a situation where, you know, if you see it and you like it, you'll want to get it because that set won't come back. They make them all by hand, so I'm sure they're kind of putting new sets together and launching new sets so that there's always something new for their fans to come back and find. That's kind of a business model I've seen a lot with more newer companies, where rather than having a stock sample of colors and products, they'll do a new collection every season or whenever they sell out. And it's kind of like how a lot of businesses on Etsy run, because it's easier to retain the customers you already have by offering new products than it is to obtain new customers for like constantly. So that's, you know, just the way that it runs there. So again, some things to keep in mind, but when I use pastels, they all go in. I'll show you one of my pastel drawers here. I put all my pastels together, so it doesn't matter to me what brand they come from. I use them all together. You get to know the feeling of what pastels are going to be your hard ones, what pastels are going to be your soft ones. And like I always start off with my like hard pastels, my new pastels, and then I work into the softer ones until the final like last details. Or I might start with pastel pencil. Just depends on the surface I'm working on and whatnot. But I keep them together because I would rather have the right color than the right hardness or softness, so it makes sense for me to keep them like this. So it doesn't matter to me at all that that I can't get every color I need from one brand, although if I do love a color and I want to restock it, it will be a bummer to not be able to. So that's just something to keep in mind, just like everything else. But all in all, I really enjoyed these and no problem working with them whatsoever. They were a delight. And I would definitely get more for my stash. I think they're a lot of fun. And there's the artworks I did with them. Obviously, I didn't spend a ton of time on the pastel layer of this or in this painting, but I didn't have to. I didn't have to because the stuff just worked. It was easy to use, it worked, and I was happy with the results I got with it in a short time. So, if you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. I will help you if I can answer it. I will. Harry, on the Art Gear Guide channel, did a really in-depth review of earthberry pastels. I think it was maybe 6 months ago or so, and I think he's got another review coming up because I saw on his Instagram he's got another set to review. So check out his review. It's always good to get a couple different ideas. And there are other artists. I'm sorry I don't know their names, but I did see a woman using these, creating a beautiful painting on YouTube. So just search earthberry pastel reviews, get a few ideas, get a few opinions, And if it's something you like, then order it. Because, I mean, it's going to take a while to get to you. So you might as well take your time researching it and seeing if it's for you. I love the shape. I really love the shape. I would definitely like to get some more of these rectangular shaped pastels. I mean, I've had the cheapy kids square pastels, and those are good. Those are fine. I use those with kids all the time. They get the job done. But I like having an artist grade pastel in this shape. It's really nice. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye!